A very warm welcome to one and all present today. Amity University Tashkent has brought about an onset to International Guest Lecture Series. It is yet another move towards holistic development of students at Uzbekistan's Amity University. The intention is to initiate monthly lecture series and experience sharing sessions by eminent personalities from industry, research, and academia. The lecture series provides a platform for our students to interact with great minds and get inspired indeed by their success stories. The whole series is an aim towards encouraging international disciplinary communication and collaboration, discussing the trends and latest topics around the globe to shape the career of the graduate students. I am privileged to share with you that the first talk in this international guest lecture series is to be delivered by none other than a highly eminent academician in the field of education, Professor Dr. Azhar Kazmi from Department of Management and Marketing, Fahad University of Petroleum and Minerals, Tehran, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We welcome you, sir. Can we clap and welcome our guest for the day, please? Thank you. The topic of discussion for the day is how managers perceive information technology. Indeed, a much desired topic of discussion in the world of management today. It is my absolute honor to introduce Professor Dr. Azhar Kazmi, an eminent academician and an expert in the area of strategic management, currently adding glory to the Department of Management and Marketing, King Fahad University of Petroleum and Minerals, from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Tehran. Professor Kazmi's research work is mainly in the field of strategic management, and he deals with sustainability and business responsibility as well. Sir is PhD in management from Kurukshetra University and MBA from University of Rajasthan, Jaipur, both from India. He is presently a visiting professor and he's serving in the Department of Management and Marketing at Saudi Arabia, King Fahad University of Petroleum and Minerals. Sir is an eminent personality indeed. He has had several laurels to his hat. Former Chairman Department of Business Administration, AMU, former Dean Faculty of Commerce, Dean Faculty of Commerce Studies and Research, Coordinator, General Education Center, Maharishi Dayanand Saraswati University, Ajmer. Sir has served as a Dean Faculty of Management Studies at School of Management and Information Studies in eminent personalities which he has placed himself at. He has brought glory to each organization he has been a part of. Sir has served as an eminent faculty member bringing research work in the field of strategic management. He has headed the program at International Islamic University, Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. He, along with Dr. Adela Kazmi, is the author of the book titled Strategic Management, published by McGraw-Hill, and the book deals with all important eminent topics related to strategic management. Sir has been awarded Escorts Delhi Management Association Best Book in Management Award in 1994, Ishan Award for Best Author in Management in 1997, and Best Paper Award in Indian Journal for Training and Development in 2000. To add to Sir's glory, I would like to bring to everyone's notice today that he has 13 books, monographs, and chapters in edited books, 65 case studies, more than 3 book reviews will credit him further. He has 62 published research papers and articles out of which I'm proud to share with you that 38 papers have been published in honorary referee journals. Sir is a member of editorial board of 34 journals and reviewer of 25 international journals. Sir is the member of advisory academic boards of 15 educational institutions. He has supervised 11 PhD degrees and the process is on indeed. And Sir is dealing with several research projects. In fact, he has completed 7 research projects already with his team of students and faculty members working under his leadership. He is fellow Salzburg Seminar, Austria, member of 3 professional associations in India, Malaysia, and USA. Sir has been vice chairman and member of the National Council of ISAB. Sir has headed the Executive Board of Association of Indian Management Schools. He has served as Vice Chairman of Strategic Management Forum of India. There is much more, my dear students, if I go on and on. But at this stage, sir, with your permission, allow me to hand over the floor to you. Without much ado, I invite the guest for the day, Professor Dr. Azhar Kazmi, to advance the event and enlighten the gathering. Thank you, sir. So we request you to enlighten the gathering. We request you to start the session, please. Are we audible to you?
Good morning, sir.
Are we audible?
Yeah,
to
good
you?
morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. So I request you to take the platform and enlighten the students. We'll be highly delighted to have your presence for the session. Over to you,
नैना
sir.
मैम की बात सुनिए।
Can I share my screen now?
Sir, sure. Students are strictly to maintain absolute silence in the auditorium. Absolute silence in the auditorium, please. Yes, sir, the screen is visible. So we can see your slide.
Okay, are you able to see me?
So may I request you to make it full screen so that it is visible to the entire audience? You could make it full screen.
Please confirm. You can see me and hear me now?
So we are able to see the presentation. I was simply requesting you, if it's possible for you to make it full
Sir,
screen.
is Dr. Sanobar audible to you?
Very feeble. I can hear you properly, but
Yes,
not.
because I also joined online, sir. We can hear you very properly. We shall
Okay.
start.
We can start now?
Yes, sir, of course.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I couldn't hear the introduction properly in the beginning, but thank you for introducing me. I can see Dr. Mubur Abdullah and Dr. Naina Chaudhary there. It's a pleasure for me to be addressing the students of Amity University in Tashkent. It so happens that in the recent past, about 2-3 years, I think every year I address Amity students somewhere or the other, at least twice a year, you know. So it's a pleasure for me to be addressing the students of Amity University based in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. I am speaking from Saudi Arabia. We have a time difference of about 2 hours. It's 10 minutes past 9 here. It was cloudy in the morning, but now sunny now. It's still pleasant weather here, not very hot, not yet. I don't know what's, I think the weather in Tashkent should be good, you know. Uzbekistan, I mean, creates a, scenario of a beautiful country with so many historical cities and beautiful people, you know, men, women, children. So, in fact, I narrowly missed visiting Tashkent, Uzbekistan last year, where we had to go because of the corona restrictions, you know. We had to go from India via some country to. So Uzbekistan was one country which was allowing Indians to pass through. But then we couldn't take that opportunity. Hopefully, I look forward to visiting your beautiful country someday. Now let's start on this topic that I proposed to Dr. Sudhanshu. Thanks a lot to Dr. Sudhanshu for your continuous communication and contact. So we were able to decide on this, how managers perceive information technology. And as you can see, I have put in parentheses, how managers should perceive information technology. So I propose to make a very simple presentation. Looking to the level of students, I am told that we have bachelor's level students in the business and IT there. So I thought of taking a topic which could be of interest to both majors, you know, majors in IT and those of you who are majoring in business. So I'm looking at this topic from the perspective of managers, you know. But we can also have the other view from the perspective of people in information technology, specialists or students of information technology. I'll start with very basic things, both in management and in IT, and then go on to address some basic questions about how managers perceive and should be perceiving information technology. Now, why I chose this topic is that information technology occupies a lot of mind space nowadays, especially with the digital transformation going on in most parts of the world. I was just 10 minutes back, I was looking to some information on information technology in Uzbekistan. And I was pleasantly surprised to see that Uzbekistan is making rapid progress in the field of information technology with a separate ministry and efforts to create or make Uzbekistan a supplier of IT-related services. You know, of course, India and Philippines, they are the biggest IT-related services suppliers in the world, especially to the US, but I could see that Uzbekistan is making good progress. And you have plans, for example, the plans for information technology education. And that's why I think Amity also very wisely chose to focus on information technology as a major. And I think most of your university are providing majors in information technology. Apart from that, I think there is an IT park in Tashkent that's doing good work, many companies working there and so on. So I think it will be of benefit to all of you, students in business, as well as students in information technology. Starting with a very basic idea of management functions, as all management students have to see right in the beginning, when you start learning about business and management, your instructors and professors, the first thing they tell you is what management functions are there. So generally we consider management functions as 4: planning function, the organizing function, the leading, and the controlling function. And within the planning function is the all important function of decision making. Now managers perceive information technology as a tool for effective decision making. So that's the role we perceive for information technology in management functions. So looking back, so we look at planning function, which is the first management function and the most important function, which sets the groundwork for all managerial functions to take place. And within this planning function, the all-important function of decision making, which is a major role and responsibility of managers. So in planning, decision making, and in decision making, we look to information technology as a set of tools and techniques that can help managers in more effective decision making. Information technology adds value to managerial functions. As you know, this is again one of the topics that is taught to business students, and I suppose IT students also do some business courses. So decision making has these steps, very well known. These 4 steps, for any task, we set objectives first, and then we explore alternative ways to achieve those objectives. And from those alternatives, we select the best alternative, which seems to us, so we evaluate all the alternatives and we select the best alternative. And then, of course, we take up the task of implementing the best alternative. So decision making has these steps, and these are iterative in the sense that anytime we have to take a decision, we will go through these 4 steps. Now, how does IT add value to decision making? And as you can see in all these 4 steps, at each point, information technology helps managers. Like right in the first step of setting objectives, information technology helps in letting managers access information for setting better quality objectives. And this is an extremely important step in decision making, because it seems like it is easy to set objectives, but it's actually, in reality, it's quite a tough job to set good objectives, good quality objectives. So information technology helps managers have access to information that can help them in setting better quality objectives. Then the managers, they use information for exploring the alternative ways of achieving objectives, even in the second step. In this step, managers, of course, have experience. Many of them have a lot of experience, and they have had past experience where they have set similar objectives and so on. So they have some innate ability to think of alternate objectives. But information technology provides access to information where one can also get new ideas and think of alternatives that were not available or not thought of earlier. Then coming to the third step, this is when managers are evaluating each alternative to see which could be the better alternative. So here also information technology helps in so many different ways. Because as we know, information technology helps in not just, I'm saying accessing information, but it's a whole lot of steps, that we know that are there in information technology: collection of data, collating data, putting them in silos, putting them in databases, then having the ability to data mine and so on and so forth, creating data warehouses and so on. So all that is happening in the IT area. Managers can access those tools and techniques on a regular basis, even on a real-time basis, and then evaluate each of the alternatives that are there. And then, of course, finally, when managers select the best alternatives, information technology is quite helpful there too in facilitating the task of evaluation, especially, say, for example, where alternatives can be quantified and computerized and so on, where we can use like simulation tools to look to better alternatives, to the alternatives, and then managers can choose the better alternatives out of them. Now remember, and this is an important point, you see, by itself, information is of no great use to managers, that way. Information is only useful to the extent that it helps managers in better quality decision making. And this is a profound point that we see, and that has been covered in the business literature also, that managers, when they access information, as we know, there is an information boom. There is, in fact, too much information. And today, we human beings not just have to use the information, but even before using that information, we have to have that ability to differentiate between which information is useful and which is not. So managers are constantly doing this. So they are looking to information that could be useful to them, and information is only useful to the extent that it helps the managers in better quality decision making. So managers have to perform this difficult task of continuously evaluating the value of information and the role that it can play in their decision making and how it can make decisions better quality. Now, the more it helps, the information technology helps managers in making effective decisions, the more it is perceived as useful. And that's the point that we have. Can we think of an example? Let me think of an example that will illustrate this point. Suppose a company is working in a highly competitive market, like fast-moving consumer goods. And there are a lot of companies operating in the market. And one of these companies, which we are exemplifying, it's interested in finding out if there is any vacant space in the market, where it can target its products, or it can think of new product ideas. Now, this is something that is continually done by the companies which are operating in highly competitive fields. So what this company would do is typically uh, look to the market, look to the marketplace, and as we see, the fast-moving consumer goods industry in most countries, and I expect in Uzbekistan too, would be highly competitive. And therefore, and there would be a large number of companies operating there of different sizes and shapes. So it would be quite a fragmented market and therefore difficult to analyze. And therefore, this managers would need to have the ability to collect a large quantity of information and analyze it. Analyze a large quantity of information and do it fast, do it efficiently. Now, all those things can be provided by the tools and techniques of information technology. And of course, all the paraphernalia of hardware and software and accessories that we have, managers can have the ability, can develop the ability to look to this vast, fragmented, competitive market and try to look for some vacant spaces that we call niches where they can target their products or think of new product ideas. Now, the decision to be taken is which market segment to target. And the other decision would be what products to offer to these target markets. And therefore, managers would use a lot of quality information in order to analyze this. Not individual managers, but committee of managers, cross-functional teams in companies would be working on this ideas, and therefore we will see a very active role being played by information technology and the support that information technology would typically provide in a company. And here we know that in the recent past, maybe I would think of 10, 20 years, the companies have developed the capabilities of information technology within so that the information technology infrastructure would help managers in better quality decision making. So this is an important point that I make. I will try to make it. Now, this is nothing original that I am proposing from my side. It's there in the literature pertaining to both the conjunction of business and information technology. So to reiterate, by itself, information is of no use to managers, or we'll say not much use to managers, unless managers find it helpful, find that information helpful to them in better quality decision making. And to the extent that that information technology can help managers in making more effective decisions, managers perceive that information technology to be more useful. Now, from information to information technology, to the managers, information technology, what does it mean? How do we, in managers, perceive? To the managers, information technology means better ways to handle information and thus improve their decision making. I don't say that all managers really perceive it this way. What I mean is that they should be perceiving information technology this way, that looking to information technology as a tool, a set of tools and techniques that can help them to handle information better and thus to improve their decision making. Now, here the problem is that as we see, remarkable developments in information technology have taken place in recent years. And we are all aware, the faculty members sitting there, the students there, and you're also broadcasting it on YouTube. So possibly other Amity students are also looking to it. So we are all aware. In fact, managers have to be aware of the remarkable developments and the recent developments in information technology that are taking place and that have taken place. So what we have seen is that information technology has been brought to the center stage within organizations. Now, this was not the case. If you ask people of my generation, we joined organizations where information technology in a very rudimentary shape was there, but it was there in the background. And it was mostly in the form of the management information systems that we had earlier. And these information systems had a lot of physical filing, documents, folders, almirahs and cupboards and so on. So the management information systems in those organizations was mostly, we know manual recording was done and so on. Of course, we had data processors in the 50s. So we did have word processing too. But that ability that we have now wasn't even within the realm of imagination when we started work. I remember one of the jobs that I took up in a company after my MBA here. I was going through the rotational training in the beginning, and I recall that I had a few days exposure in what was called the data processing department there. And the company, it was a Tata company, so they were quite progressive and forward-looking. So they in the late 70s, they had got a word processing machine. And one of the first applications that they were using was, as expected, it was in financial accounting. And the second application that they were using then was in payroll processing. So I distinctly remember the in charge of the data processing department, when he found that I was an engineer and an MBA, he was quite excited to talk to me and to show me around how the payroll processing was being done. And he was so happy, looking to reams of paper coming out of the word processing machine, data processing machine, and how the employees would be getting salary slips. Instead of the salary registers going around, they would be getting salary slips every month, on which all the data pertaining to their salary would be there, all the payments and deductions and so on and so forth, and taxation and so on. And this person was quite excited at that time. Now, if I look back, 40 years back, I could sense, in fact, I could empathize with his excitement, because moving from a manual system to a mechanized system, I won't call it computerized then, to a mechanized system of data processing, and this data processing, as we see, is in the nature of a repetitive, routine data processing, which we done in a cycle of every monthly cycle. So every month the salary processing or payroll processing would be done. Now, from that stage, we have moved to organizations now where there are full-fledged information technology departments. Companies hire a lot of people with expertise in information technology, and managers are also continually exposed to training and development in the area of information technology. So I think managers, it would be safe to call them half, at least, or half or more than half experts in information technology too. So managers and their organizations have benefited tremendously from the developments taking place in the field of information technology. And as we know, these are quite remarkable and exciting developments that we see. Now, what facilitates the use of information technology by managers? So, the example that I gave you of my own experience 4 decades back of seeing how a data processor was being used uh, to make the task of repetitive routine data processing more efficient, And of course, other benefits of information, not just efficient, but more clean, cleaner, better looking and aesthetically appealing and so on and so forth. So what facilitates, we see these processes, we could identify these 5 processes that are there. The process of computerization, as we understand, the use of computers to replace manual work in organization, like my company was doing that time, So, the previous work of noting down everything in manual ledgers and registers and notebooks, that thing was being computerized. And with data entry, you could maintain computerized records. The process of electronization, and this is a technical process of conversion of physical data into electronic data through digitization. And this is a remarkable invention of human beings, the digitization. Converting physical data into 010101 type of binary data. So this physical data, any physical data like physical data of salary, scales, fixation of salaries, perquisites and allowances and so on, all this physical data by the means of data entry could be computerized and electronized. And then we have this process of digitalization, which is making such big news nowadays. The process of digitalization means the conversion of analog electrical signals into digital signals. And this is a remarkable technological development that enables us to make such good use of information technology. Now, this is as so far as related to individual workstations. But when these workstations are connected to each other, we have the process of networking, connecting computers to talk to each other through telecommunications. And that's the reason why we have seen almost simultaneous development in information technology and in telecommunication technology. And that's why we call it ICT, information and communication technology, ICT. And here we have the process of convergence, integrating computers, information, and communication technologies seamlessly. In fact, what we are doing now is thanks to the process of convergence that's there. I'm sitting here in another country, you are sitting there in another country in different time zones, and yet we are able to communicate to each other through this process of, through the whole configuration of computerization, electronization, digitalization, networking, and convergence. Now, how decision making is made more effective by information technology, and that's what managers are more interested in. Managers can access information such that, and that's quite evident, that it's more efficient. Managers can process information faster. Bulk information can be processed. To the managers, efficiency and productivity are very important parameters of performance. So we look forward to anything that can make managerial work, including decision making, more efficient and more productive, and of course more sophisticated too. Sophisticated in the sense that it could be aesthetically appealing, good documentation, nice documentation, nice presentations, and so on and so forth. All this is sophistication. And then, of course, we can have information that is in a form that it could be analyzed. It is analyzable. So that's a very important characteristic of information, that it can be subjected to analysis. And therefore, managers can use it to exercise better managerial control. And then, of course, we know information can be retained, can be retrieved in a form that we want to, and reused in different formats and so on. All these things, all these things are so self-evident. To a young person like most of you, they seem like second nature, but to us, because we always have that perspective of, in the context that we used to work with paper and pen, manually. I mean, all this is of great benefit, And as I said, to young people like you, this may seem like second nature. I mean, you may think it always has been there, but that's not the case. Now, emergence of digitalized businesses, as a consequence of all these developments that have taken place in the past so many decades, we have specialized companies and businesses that have come up. We have the benefit of so many of these companies. Like we have e-channels, chain of relationship between companies and their partners. And that's the reason why we find information technology being the bedrock of a very important function that we have now, supply chain management, which seamlessly connects the customers, suppliers, and so on. Then we have combinations of click and brick, all these are terms that have come up, in the during the process of development of information technology. So traditionally we have had brick and mortar businesses, and we have click and order businesses now, and we can also have combinations of both, which are click and brick. Then we have e-portals, intermediaries offering a set of services for a user group, and we know e-portals have made such a big impact on so many industries and so on. Like Uber, for example, or shared taxi services and so on and so forth. Then we have e-market makers, online intermediaries connecting buyers and suppliers. And this has been a boon to many of the small and medium industries, which had to face a challenge in accessing markets and customers. And as a consequence of this, we see that the small and medium enterprises, they have in fact overcome one of the major bottlenecks that they had, and many of them in fact operate on a global scale. And we have a term called born global companies. So a small company comes up and immediately becomes a global company, and it's all because of these intermediaries that are available to connect buyers and suppliers. And we have e-digital products, like Kindle, for example, products and services that can be produced and delivered electronically. So all these radical developments have come up because of the fast-paced development of information technology and the ability of business to take advantage of the developments in information technology. And therefore, what we have now is so many applications of information technology, not just in business and industry, but in other fields of human activity like governments or non-governmental organizations and service organizations and so on. So we had online banking, for example, or online insurance, online ticketing for all modes of transportation. We have like online medical transcription. I hope you understand what medical transcription means. It means that the doctors and patients need not be physically at the same place, and the doctors can provide consultation to patients remotely. And during this process, medical transcription is one of the sub-processes that take place, where there could be data processes which can help the whole medical systems, medical and paramedical system to provide health services to remote patients. Then we have online delivery of government services. This again, we call it e-governance. And so many radical developments have taken place, and we are reaping the benefits. Like I'll give an example of my own place of work. When I came here about 17 years ago to Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia has a system of immigration for expatriates, because there are a large number of expatriates who work here. About 8 million expatriates work in Saudi Arabia, out of the population of about 35 million. So there are a large number of expatriates, and therefore systems have been in place to manage the immigration process and their absorption in the workforce. So especially at the point of immigration, there were a lot of manual processes then, and it was quite cumbersome, In fact, it was quite painful for us expatriates who came in, because in the beginning, several days went into just going about here and there, trying to complete the processes of immigration. Now, almost 90% of these processes have been tackled through e-governance now. Many of the things for which I had to take a taxi and go and do it physically in some government office, I can sit here in my office or home, and I can perform those functions on my laptop. So this is of great benefit, and government services delivery are there. Another example that comes to mind is several years ago in India, we started the benefit. I'm just giving this example to show that government service is not intended to help just one citizen or individual citizens, but also to say back up certain social security and social service programs. Like in India, we had in several years back, and I think we started more than 20 years back, the process of direct transfer to farmers, for example, of any help, financial help that the government was going to provide. The farmers could get them directly, can get the amount directly credited into their bank account. Now, this is of great benefit to not to just the government, but to the society too. Then online delivery of education. And this is one mode that we have. I'm speaking to you from a different country. So online delivery of education is there. And I think we would soon find ourselves in a situation where online education would be more prevalent than face-to-face education, and so on. So there are so many examples of information technology applications in business, industry, and government. Now, I'm just coming to the end of my presentation, but I just give a note of caution before I end my presentation. Look here, now IT is dominated by technological issues, not managerial issues. I know, because two of my children, they work in the field of information technology. So conversing with them, when I converse with them, well, they are more familiar with the technological issues than managerial issues, So information technology is dominated by technological issues, not managerial issues. Technological issues like say, for example, developments in information technology of the various techniques that have come up, like we are enamored by big data analytics, for example, or nowadays progressive applications of machine learning and artificial intelligence. The aura of digital transformation that we find in organizations nowadays. That's one thing that is there, and managers need to be cautious about that. Information technology is often thought of as the panacea to all sorts of organizational problems. Managers who are too enamored by uh, the bright light of information technology, many of them initially, at least, they tend to fall into the wrong notion that information technology can be a solution to organizational problems. So it's true that information technology helps in a lot of or in resolving a lot of organizational problems, like organizational challenges of efficiency and productivity. They can be tackled quite often by information technology. But when it comes to effectiveness, information technology can have only a limited role. Managers have to be very careful about that. The third issue is that often organizations end up over investing in information technology, especially in terms of the infrastructure, hardware, software, and so on and so forth. And we see there are so many developments that are there. And especially in the area of software, we find that there's so much hard selling that happens to organizations that managers are often I mean, they're so over impressed by the help that these fancy softwares can help them. But it's not the case. And researchers have shown that many of these efforts at creating information technology infrastructure has actually ended up with organizations over investing in IT, especially in the hardware. The fourth point that is of significance is that IT is no longer a differentiating factor. My company is not a better company because we use computers. Now that was there in the beginning, but that's no longer a differentiating factor. Now all companies use information technology, of course, with varying capability, but all of them, we have access to information technology. And if they don't have it, organizations can have it. So it's not a big deal. So organizations can't look for competitive advantage just on the basis of information technology. Information technology is more a cost now. It's more a necessity. And then we see that it's much of information technology, in fact, especially related to data collection, processing, and retrieval. It's turning into a utility. It's into a commodity, just like power or water. And that's why we have cloud computing, where we needn't have all the software that we need. We can access it just like a commodity. So just like power utilities, we have data utilities now that can be there. And therefore, managers need to take a cautious decision of making a prudent use of information technology, making wise investments, whatever they are needed. And therefore, managers always need to remember that information technology will always be a set of tools and techniques to help them in their managerial functions, particularly in planning and especially in the area of decision making. So that's what I have to say. I think I took up more time. I said, Dr. Sudhanshu, I said 30 minutes, right? I think I took 40 minutes anyway. So I look forward to questions now if you have.
Yes, sir.
It is such a pleasure, Kazmi Saab. We did not realize that it's 40 minutes. Actually, it is a matter of extreme pleasure and great pride, especially for me to share a platform with you, because I want to share today, if I have a clarity of a difference between vision, mission, goals, and objectives, it is only because of the pink book that I read. And I still remember it is through the pyramid that you have explained, something that leaves such a long lasting expression on your mind is incredible. I mean, in my early days of teaching, I used to teach marketing. So one of my friend who was teaching, she was from AMU. she used to carry that pink book of strategic management in her hand. So I asked her, why do you keep carrying it and reading it? She's like Kotler for marketing, Philip Kotler for marketing is for you. It is for me. Strategic management means Professor Kazmi, and nobody can do management these days in India without reading this book. So that was the impression of that book, and I still remember that we few days back we had Professor Philip Kotler, and I was talking to Sudhanshu ji, and I just said generally that I really want that Professor Kazmi should join us someday. And I don't know, he just tried and he came and he gave me a surprise. I was really, really happy to know that you agreed. And we surely would host your visit to Amity Tashkent. We have a conference and we would love to have you here in a physical mode. This is certainly a treat to hear you and your presentation. So what we did, sir, we told the students about the lecture a few days back as soon as we got a confirmation from you, and I received a lot of questions from them. So I'm moderating this session, but the questions were too much. I thought you would not have time. So I've shortlisted few and they were removed the overlap and other things. Because we have a lot of students who are doing IT and this topic is very relevant to them. The first question that I picked is, how is information technology relevant to managers in manufacturing sector?
Yeah, manufacturing sector, Dr. Nana has seen a lot of applications in the sense that one is, of course, the direct interaction with the supply chain system on either side. So manufacturing has benefited a lot, both from the input and output side. But even within, manufacturing sector, we have had control panels since long. Even I remember when I was doing my industrial training in my engineering course, we did have some sort of control panel then too. So information technology helps a lot. So we have, I think they were called numerically controlled machines, NMCs. If I remember my engineering jargon, of course, most of it I've forgotten. So there is a lot of scope for information technology. In fact, it is there, in manufacturing. Manufacturing, as we know, it places a lot of stress on parameters like efficiency and productivity. So information technology naturally is quite helpful in these two areas, of improving and increasing efficiency and so on. And then in terms of sophistication also, manufacturing is dirty work, but information technology, infusion of information technology in machine work, for example, has created much cleaner workspaces, and that we see. I have also seen where I have worked in companies. So information technology has improved workspaces, even aesthetically and environmentally, and so on. So there are a lot of applications. That's so all these parameters are there. I'm giving a very general answer.
Yes. Our IT students who moved to fourth semester, they're recently exposed to some specialization electives. One of them is artificial intelligence. This was a little funny, so I just picked it up. The student has written that in the world of artificial intelligence, if intelligence is artificial, why it exists at all?
That's yeah. This used to be an anecdote or a joke in the beginning, when this term artificial intelligence was coming in. But that's a very perceptive question, why it needs to be there, artificial. I think artificial just means man-made, because intelligence is innate to human beings. We have it here, and even now we know that what we have here is much superior to the artificial intelligence that we have out there. So artificial is only in the sense of man-made, like a robotic operation. Yeah, that's another area where manufacturing has benefited, of robotic operations. And so we see there. And I mean, I was just reading on robotic operations, I think just in this week, So we find that robots are going to outnumber human beings, So, so it's quite possible that So all these robotic is artificial, artificial manufacturing, artificial movements and so on. Human beings are remarkable creation of whoever is the creating entity. So I think I remember the number correctly. In our bodies, we have 126 planes of motions. But robots till now have only a limited number, I think 8 planes of motion. And that's why they seem so odd, moving like that and so on and so forth. So children can see how the robotic movements are there. They're too mechanical. So that's the artificiality, that's there. So the term is there. So you can have a more sophisticated term like machine learning. Yeah, that way. Yeah.
I have this whole list of questions, but I know I will not take much of your time. So I'll just
No,
ask
you
one.
can take more time, no problem. Don't worry. Yeah.
The students write, too much dependence on technology could also lead to slowing down of work. In case of a technical glitch, also the need to constantly upgrade could also
Good.
take an increased expense of the firm as well as restraining of employees. So is it advisable to totally depend on technology?
That's a very, very profound question, very profound question. And I'm so happy that it has come from a young student. I mean, frankly, sometimes I am terrified by the prospect of all data systems breaking down. What will happen? What will happen? I mean, we have experienced this on a limited scale. You see, we older generation always have cash. I'm sure Dr. Sudhanshu has some cash in his pocket, and you too. But young guys nowadays, they don't carry cash. They hardly cash any. So I was talking to my son, and I always advise him to keep, those, just keep 2,000, 4,000 rupees in your pocket. At least you'll need it somewhere, sometime.
And it
We
happens.
have a card. And
It
now they
happens.
don't even have a card. So they just do it by mobile phone. But have we factored in the possibility of data system breaking down? Well, they could, because of man-made disasters or natural disasters. They do happen. Like internet breakdowns, they do take place, and we are not able to perform many of the functions that we are getting used to, online ordering of food. So one will go hungry if one doesn't have access to the suppliers. So this is the profound question. So one would have to always keep in mind that there will have to be backup systems, even though they may be quite costly to create and maintain. We would have to have backup systems, both at individual and institutional levels. And these are part of the risk management systems in organizations now. Organizations, they are aware of this. They're very well aware of this. So, like I was studying in BITS Pilani. So once we students went on a strike because the mess food charges were hiked up. So we were not used to strike, but anyway, just for the fun, we went on strike. And that time we realized that our institution was so profound that all our student records, they weren't just kept within the institute, they were also kept in Delhi somewhere. So they could send letters to our parents, your son is creating a problem here. Knock his ears and knock or something. So there have to be backup systems there, whatever be the cost, because that possibility can't be there. And as I told you, risk management systems, they do keep this thing in mind, because attacks are there. There, many organizations like our neighbor here is the largest oil company in the world, Aramco. They have had some very nasty attacks, on their information systems, and they have managed to deal with them because they have backup systems. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually remember the same thing. You tell your son, I tell my daughter to keep some cash. So she also shows me that card, and one day somebody is begging. She's saying, "I am feeling very bad, Mama. Please give some cash." I said, "You give your card now." So, not everywhere the technology works. With that, I am thankful to Sudhanshu ji and Professor Kazmi sir for allowing me to moderate this session. Thank you so much. Over to Dr. Sanobar,
Come.
please. Dr. Sanobar, we can't hear you.
Hello. Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. Indeed, that was a session much appreciated by us as well. And ma'am, to add to what you said, strategic management obviously is something we thought is incomplete without skills. I myself at Sharda University, when I initiated my career as a faculty member, and I got a chance to teach strategic management in the SIR scope, which actually I got. And I had the opportunity to connect Sir and LinkedIn also. So I'm really grateful, sir. And Amity University looks forward to similar opportunities to spend time with you in the future as well. Taking the event forward and reflecting our obligation towards you, sir, I invite our director, Mr. Babar Abdullayev, to present our small token of love, appreciation, and respect. Over to the IT team, and sir, the platform is all yours. Our director, Mr. Babar sir, is requested to present our small token of love, appreciation, and respect towards Dr. Azmi sir.
Thank you so much. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir. You're audible.
Great. I'm very happy to see all our students here at the same place. And I'm very happy to see Dr. Kazmi today with us. When I heard the news from Dr. Sudhanshu that you are coming as a guest, I was very happy to see, because these type of connections between Saudi Arabia, UAE and Uzbekistan online were possible only because of IT. And today you are talking a lot about usage of information technologies in our lives. I would say I always remember in my childhood, I was selling the things in the stores. You know, I was running my own store, small shop. I was feeling myself as like a slave of this shop. I was sitting there all the day. I was never able to do something bigger if I would not implement IT. So if you implement IT to small shops also, it will become big supermarkets and can be controlled easily with several people. Same, IT is doing a lot for our lives. On the other hand, it can never replace people, human being, because let's imagine you have your flashcard with the brilliant ideas, and you came to the past, let's say 15th century, and you have this flashcard of whole human beings' knowledge. But what do you do with it? You don't have any PC there or laptop to plug it in and play. You keep telling people in the 15th century that you have all the knowledge of the humankind, but you're not able to use it. So in any case, we will need a human being, and it cannot be replaced with the machines so far. But IT is the must, as you told. Nowadays, we don't even speak about should we implement IT on industry or not. We speak that how to implement to make it more efficient. And today, your keynotes and ideas you had shared with us were very useful, because all the people sitting here in our auditorium, students, are future leaders of the IT in Uzbekistan, I hope. And we will be using all the keynotes you shared today. So I'm very happy to welcome you once. And I hope that we will be able to host you in Uzbekistan offline also. So if you come, we'll be very happy to host. And today we are happy to send you this invitation certificate of acknowledgement. Thank you so much for being today with us and sharing your knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And one more, I would like to give a thanks words to all of our students who stayed with us till the end. And my big thanks goes to the Dr. Sudashu who made it possible to organize it, and Dr. Naina, who was moderating, and of course our beautiful Dr. Sanabar, who is doing everything there with the students in the auditorium. Thank you so much for the all organizing team, and a special thanks to the Dr. Kazemi, who shared with the greatest ideas.
Thank you so much, sir. We're highly obliged. As they say, all good things come to an end. So therefore, coming to the closure of the event, I invite Dr. Sudhanshu Tripathi to propose a vote of thanks towards all contributors to today's event. Over to Dr. Tripathi, please.
Thank you, Dr. Sanobar. Respected Kazmi sir, thank you for your enlightening words, sir. It was pleasure to listen to you. Even being from IT and engineering background, I have heard a lot about you from my friends and colleagues teaching in management department. And while discussing with our deputy director ma'am here, when this responsibility was given to me, honestly speaking, sir, that I have tried to connect you with the very least hope of acceptance of our invitation. But on contrary, once I received the positive response from your side, it was like a dream comes true. So thank you, sir, for your kind acceptance of our invite. And we feel privileged to have your supervision backing us, sir. Your talk was particularly at a time insightful, at a time when the students are considering new ideas to broaden their knowledge for expanding growth in the field of management as well as in IT. I believe your words have set a new level of expectation that the students aspire for. On behalf of MET University Tashkent, I would like to extend my warm gratitude to you, sir. Knowing that how busy you are, we appreciate that the time you took to impart us with your valuable knowledge. We are highly grateful to you to have you with us, sir. Thank you so much, sir. On behalf of the organizing committee of International Guest Lecture Series, I would like to express my profound gratitude to our beloved founder president, Sri Dr. Ashok Kumar Chauhan, sir, for his blessings and motivations. Sir, you are always our source of inspiration and energy. Thank you, sir, for blessing us always. I most humbly thank to our Chancellor, sir, Dr. Atul Kumar Chauhan, sir, for his exceptional leadership, guidance, and motivation. I would like to extend gratitude to Mr. Amol Chauhan, sir, Trustee, MET Education Group, for his motivating and dynamic leadership. Thank you, sir, for shaping us so well. I am happy to offer sincere thanks to Dr. Gurinder Singh, sir, Group Vice Chancellor, MET Universities, for his active guidance and support. Sir, you have given us valuable time and support to organize this inaugural lecture in International Guest Lecture Series successfully. Thank you, sir. On behalf of the organizing committee of International Guest Lecture Series, my sincere thanks goes to our director, Mr. Babur Abdullayev, and our deputy director, Dr. Naina Chaudhary, for your wise mentorship and encouragement. Sir and ma'am, both of you are always ready to listen the problems and provide the solution instantly whensoever we approach to you. Thank you, sir and ma'am. Last but not the least, I would like to thank my all colleagues, IT team, support team, and Almighty God, who have always directly and indirectly provides necessary arrangements and support to make this event successful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kazmi Saab, for being here. We are extremely grateful. IT team can close the session. We shall see you soon in person.